Hey guys, welcome to another replay analysis with me, Mr. ViBE, and we're going to be looking at a Protoss versus Protoss. This is gold, high gold, low plat level. Let's see what's going on in your games, Mon Capitan. What are you doing, Mon Capitan? What's up, dude? Stack them close patches, bro. You got nothing going on anyways. These two probes right here. These two probes. Boom, boom. Side to side. Nice pylon. I would say in general, personal opinion, I think it's better to, if you're going to put gateways on the ramp, put it on the outside of your base rather than the inside of your base, because all this does is it exposes your stalkers further if you get all in by something. And the thing that would fuck you over the most, I would say, is if you got proxy stargated while trying to expand. If this guy went for proxy stargate and you went for, you know, standard expansion bullshit, your opponent could abuse you because your stalkers would always run on the outside, on the outside, on the outside, on the outside, and his voids could be like right here, just fucking you over repeatedly. So if you want to expand, if your plan is to expand, definitely put your gate, in my opinion, on the outside, so that the inside is the opening doorway, so you can easily walk from point to point and not have to expose yourself. I'm pretty sure you saw that probe, didn't you? Just out of curiosity. That's a very cannon rushy probe. That's so early. You actually did not see it. Okay, that's fine. I would personally say your scout, in my opinion, is on this map particularly. Your scout's fine. If it's not this map, I think your scout's too early, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yo, and Juno Life and Psychosaurus, thank you guys very much for the 37 and the 22-month resubs, guys. Hell yeah. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cannon rush on this map is a real pain in the ass. So early scout, I'm not opposed to it on this map particularly.
22 months in a row, bud.
Yo, thank you so much. Holy fuck, it feels like it's been 1 month. Time flies when you're getting subbed to by Rudy. And Juno Life, I love you. Thank you. So now you see a forward pylon with a backup forge. Super weird wall right here. And now you're getting cannon rushed. First of all, this map is fucking obnoxious as hell for cannon rush. It is super, super, super obnoxious. Just want to throw that out there, okay? This map is fucking sucks for dealing with cannon rush. Now let's see how you react. The first thing I would say, in my opinion, what I would do if I were you, what I would do is you have one of two options. Number one is you focus on building more buildings away from the other side of your pylon, away from the ramp, away from the cannon rush, wherever it would be, and go from there. The other one is you can wall your base in. You can literally just straight up wall off the fucking ramp. And what that does is if you wall off the ramp and you then kill the probe is going to die. Or like the probe dies and then you can't build anything. He can't continue the cannon rush until he breaks down your door. This is how I would say you should react to it. If you were to scout this, he doesn't know he's getting cannon rush yet though. Mind control, let me tell you something really fast. Okay, let me tell you something really fast. If you fucking play a Protoss versus Protoss, and your opponent opens up with a forge, your ass is getting cannon rushed, okay? That's happening. If you scout a forge, you are going to cannon rush. If you think that you scout a forge, and you're like, well, I don't see cannons attacking me yet, it's fine. I would ask you, the hell are you smoking? The fuck? Do you take cocaine today? You want some hashish? The fuck is wrong with you? Okay, so now, what I would tell you to do, Mon Capitan, Mon Capitan, what I would tell you to do is go down your ramp. The second you see the forge, look at your ramp, okay? And get a judgment call as to where the cannons are. This is my opinion of how to deal with cannon rush. If the cannons are close to your gate, like if there's got like a cannon here and he's got like a second cannon there and he's like full on just cannon rushing your ramp at the base of your ramp. If you somehow have not seen it yet, and there's like, say there's a cannon there and a cannon there, whatever, and a pylon like right there. If you see cannons that are going down at the base of your ramp, and the point I'm trying to make here is if you don't know how the range of a cannon, you should learn that. And if I were to tell you what the range of a cannon is, this is about the range of a cannon, okay? It's 7, and this is what about 7 range represents, like right here. This is about 7 range, okay? I would say that is roughly about 7 range. About like that. That's about 7 range right there, like that. So if you don't know the range of the cannon, you should learn this. And it's actually a little bit more, there you go, on those sides. But yeah, 7 range from the cannon is like that far. It's like that far. It won't be able to shoot your gateway is the point I'm trying to make here. This cannon is out of range of your gateway. If you think it's in range of your gateway, it's not. That's like 9 range to hit the gateway. 7 range is about like that far. It's not quite enough. So again, the point I'm trying to make, the overall overlying fundamental point that we're trying to say here is if there's cannons already being built in range of your wall, don't wall. If there are not cannons in range of your wall, then you should wall. The difference is if you build a bunch of gateways here and wall off your base, but he's building like 2 to 3 cannons in range of the gates, they're all just going to die anyways, and you're wasting your money and you're going to lose. However, if his first cannon that he built and his first pylon that he built is not in range to kill your gateways, if you fully seal this wall off with like another gateway and a pylon, he cannot kill it until he then builds another cannon. And look at what he's done so far. He has 1 probe. Just 1 probe. He does not have probe number 2 at your base. So if you actually kill this probe in your main base and you wall off your base, his probe cannot go down and build a new cannon somewhere else. It cannot do that. Because he's sealed into your base. And that means he also can't retreat either. So his probe, if you attack his probe with your probes, you will kill it over time. Unless this guy has insane micro, which I don't fully expect him to have that. But again, you can also counter micro this yourself, because if a probe runs around your base, what is it going to do? It's going to do laps. It's not going to just run in one spot. It's not going to go back, forth, like in a line straight away. If it goes in a line, it's going to die, because every time it turns, it hits by a probe. The only way he can not get hit by your probes, if you're chasing him, is if he does a circle, right? So if he does a circle, it means he has to do what he's doing now, which is he passes by your mineral line. And if he passes by your mineral line, you can chase this thing with like 1 or 2 probes. I would say probably 2 would be great. That way you always have a probe chasing him at full speed to attack his ass. And then whenever he takes a lap to like chase into your, like to go behind your mineral line, you just pull like 5 probes and you cut him off and you attack him. If your plan is to wall him in your base. Now, there is no way around this. Actually, there is a way around this, okay? So the answer I'm giving you requires a little bit of micro. I'll give you another answer in a second that requires no micro at all. But the answer I'm giving you requires no micro. Alright, Jesus Christ. Let me start that over. The answer I'm giving you requires micro. A little bit with your probes. You have to micro. There is no way to not micro. In terms of what, like, if you're going to go gateway first. And rely on stalkers and stuff. You have to micro a little bit. Okay? I want to make this sound not confusing. If you don't want to micro, and you're like, it's too complicated for me, I don't want to use my probes, this is way too hard. The second you see a forge, build a fucking forge. Build it away from the ramp. Just build a forge. If you don't want to micro, react to his cannon.
ViBE, you're the best SC2 streamer by far. Thanks for all the content.
Thank you, Lord Byron. Appreciate the 12-month resub, man. Welcome back for the year. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you, thank you. If you don't want to react to micro at all, if you want to just be like, micro's too complicated, it's too much. The second you see a forge, you can build a forge of your own, and you can tourniquet yourself. It's like literally cannon tourniquets, where you're like, okay, everywhere he builds, I'm gonna build a pylon too. Like in terms of like, if he builds a pylon there, you build a pylon like right there. He builds one cannon, you match his one cannon with one cannon. He builds two cannons, you match two cannons with two cannons. He builds three cannons, you build three cannons. You build just as many cannons as he does, and then eventually you just build one more than what he has. You can match cannons for cannons, and if you do this way, it's a way you don't have to micro, you just build cannons as he builds cannons. That's it. That's all that would be. If you want to try to, if you're like, micro's way too hard, man, I can't do it. Now, keep this in mind, okay? So now you have an idea. So again, what I would have said is, if we're gonna, so cannon tourniquets it's super fucking basic. It doesn't really need to be explained that much. You just literally cut off his cannons with your cannons. It kind of turns into him containing you a little bit. So I'd say if you are gonna do the cannon game where you're like, okay, well I'm gonna cannon his cannons, do not let this probe die. Do not let this probe die. Instead, you're gonna take like an expansion like over here or something. Take the rich gas and the mineral line over here. Do something with your scouting probe that's already away from his cannons. That way you can still expand and you can then go from there. But if you're not gonna go for cannon tourniquet, so we'll leave cannon tourniquet at that. That's all it is. It's super fucking basic. It's not the most effective way to deal with cannons, but it's a very noob friendly way to deal with cannons. It's easy. So again, knowing or not knowing if his cannons are at the ramp is a big deal, right? So you should be prioritizing this right now. You should also be building that. The second is, and also here's a huge thing, huge. So much information I have to throw at your ass right now, so fast. But if you don't build a core when this gate's done, you're fucking yourself over. If you're not going to go forge, which is totally fine, if you delay the core at all, you are ruining yourself hardcore. So again, what I think you should be doing, number one, I don't think you should have a missing probe on the mineral line. I think there should be only one on the gas instead of two. You should have 16 and 16 on the mineral line, but you should be making that core immediately, and you should also be walling yourself off or building your second gateway up here, whatever you choose to do. It makes more sense, in my opinion, to wall off because his cannon is out of range of the ramp. He can't shoot you. It makes more sense to wall off, so you control where the probe goes. Now you're doing nothing to pressure this probe. You see, if you had like if you had just two probes chasing this probe, I guarantee you would have just killed it just now because you did enough damage to him with one probe to potentially kill it. And I feel like you're almost gonna, he's probably gonna live with 5 hit points and his cannon's gonna kill you. Yeah. So that sucks. You did nothing to you microed 0 there. You did 0 micro. And now you lost like 5 probes. He lost 1 probe. You still could win this game so easy if you just did one thing. Wall off your ramp. You know why? This cannon becomes irrelevant on the low ground with this pylon on the high ground if you have a wall. Because he can't abuse you then. If, however, you do nothing to control your ramp, he's going to bring another probe down here in about 50 seconds. And then he's going to build new cannons here. And if you try to use probes to stop that, his cannon is going to kill all of your probes. Here comes his probe. Okay, you walled him off. Good. However, it should have been another gateway, in my opinion, not 2 pylons. You need to make multiple gateways. You cannot go... If you're going to fight against a cannon rush, you cannot go one gate and just sit on one gate. Otherwise, your money is going to be ridiculously high all the time. See how he can't build pylons? Or he can't build anything with those cannons? Now, here's what you could do. Here's all you got to do. Here's all you got to do. Kill that cannon with your stalker. Build another stalker. Now, if you had 2 stalkers, you 100% would kill that cannon really fast. But you don't have 2 stalkers, unfortunately. But if you just control the area with stalkers, you can always abuse range. So, but if I were you, I would kill this cannon first so that I just get rid of it, because what he's going to do is he's going to run the probe up the ramp and then try to use that for vision to let the cannon shoot you then. And if he ever runs up the ramp, you know what you could do then? Put a stalker like right there and shoot the probe, because he can't hit your stalker if it's there, but your stalker can hit a probe if it's there. If you stand here though, however, and shoot the probe, or you never even acknowledge the probe and you just shoot the cannon and the cannon's like got too much health, you'll fucking die. Now, killing the pylon is not a bad idea either. This is also an acceptable choice because he makes him lose high ground vision. But just know that if you do this, it's going to guarantee the cannon goes up. And the way to fix that for you would be make sure whenever his cannon's up, especially if he has multiple cannons, do not fucking kill the probe from there. Kill it from there. And if you stand here, it means you can't shoot the cannons because it's too far away from your stalkers. But if you kill the probe, then you can kill the cannon. You really need to make 2 gates, man. Just watching this, do not go forge. Do not go forge. This guy is fucking awful at cannon rushing. And so will most of your opponents. They'll be just the same. You don't need to go forge. Get better, because this forge expires. It's not actually something that's going to take you to higher and higher leagues. It's going to, like, once you get to like masters, you're going to start feeling pretty shitty about it. If you know, eventually when that happens. So I would say just work on stalker defense and just make sure you understand the concept of making 2 gateways. Like, I know you probably play Beat a Gym style where you're like 1 gate expands every game. But if you get cannon rushed and you're like, I have to make stalkers to defend this and I have to wall my base off like this, just make 2 gates. Make 2 gateways. This is some fail cannon rushing right here. And then now what I see what's going to happen is you're probably going to fall really far behind. Like, what the hell is this guy doing, man? Holy good lord. God, I'm glad you're killing your pylon. I'm glad you made a sentry so you can scout. Like, making a sentry after you deal with it makes sense. I would say that makes sense. You should 100% be making a nexus. At least your natural right now. At least your natural. But just keep in mind, in Beat a GM style, in Beat a GM, this is roughly around the time when I tell you to take a 3rd base. Already. Keep that in mind. Like, you're like obviously he's behind too because he can't rush you. But you are so far behind now, from where you want to be. You're not making probes. You are making 1 robo, 1 gateway, but you're not making probes anymore, and you're just kind of chilling. Like, you gotta have a plan. If you're gonna not make probes anymore, you should have like 5 gates. If you're gonna keep making probes, you should like expand and maybe even double expand because you're super far behind from where you should be. The second you realized you were going to defend that... So here's the thing too. The second this happened... Right here. The second you did this... You saw him cancel... You saw him cancel one of his cannons, and you did this. You should have immediately started making probes again right now. Why? It's because this dude is not building any new buildings. This cannon's still irrelevant at this point. It's out of range of anything that's relevant now in this game. And this cannon's unpowered. This cannon's unpowered, and there's no buildings, okay? Just the rush is over, is what I'm trying to say. This rush is fucking done. Like, look at it. This dude is doing nothing to continue the rush. So right now, if I were you and I was playing this game, I would go, you know what he's probably doing? Getting ready to expand. Like, this dude's looking at his rush going, alright, and here comes the Nexus. He's not even trying anymore. Like, the rush, his probes are fucking idle. They're just sitting there. This dude is done. So, what you should do, this is that moment when you should go, am I going to all-in him, or am I going to go for an expansion and saturate that thing? You should be thinking ahead of where you're at. You're probably panicking right now, being like, oh god, cannons, 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 but they're so not intimidating. If you just think ahead of where you're gonna be, like he's not even. If there was still like 3 cannons being built here, a pylon, and he was like shooting the shit out of your gateway repeatedly with like 3 probes in the high ground, just shooting constant cannons at it, I'd be like, yeah, don't make probes yet. This is scary still. But he's not even trying anymore. Like the rush is over. So you need like you're making probes right now, but you're still not even fully saturated on your main base, which is okay. You make a robo, and this robo, in my opinion, is not a great choice in the terms of this now pushes you further into the degree of needing to be more aggressive to get something done. Now I know a robo is standard in the build of beta GM, right? But think about this. What happens when you build the robo? Like, when do you build the robo? You build it after you've made the natural, right? You're building the robo this game before you build the natural. I was worried my tech was late. So is his. His tech is late as well because he cannon rushed you. But you're building robo, you're building production before you even have the economy to really sustain future economy. Like, if you build this robo right now, you do have a bank that is fucking high, which means you've been really slow at dealing with this cannon rush as well. But if you build the robo right now, I guarantee you're going to have a lot of downtime if you shift gears back into properly saturating your economy because you don't have a natural even started. So you're not going to have enough money to sustain. Look at that robo. Well, I mean, you can afford it still, though, but the robo's not the hugest deal. It's just, you need to be more assertive. The second gateway was the biggest problem for you. Like, definitely don't defend cannon rushes with one gateway. You will never win games against players who have an idea of what a cannon rush actually should look like. This guy's cannon rush was fucking super fail. But if you play against players who are like, let's say they go like zealot proxy with cannons, or they just make multiple cannons, you will die. You will die. Oh, if they sent multiple probes to your base, the fact that this dude built 1 pylon, 1 cannon, ran in your base with a pylon and died, and then he didn't even send another probe until after his probe died, that is the worst cannon rush I've ever seen. It's so slow, which is why 1 gateway worked against it. But if you played against someone who actually had a backup probe, and let's say he was leapfrogging cannons more and more into your main base, and like breaking your gateway down, if, just for instance, if he built a cannon next to your gateway and killed your gate, you'd be dead. Your stalker would never finish before the gateway dies. And then you'd be dead, because you just only build 1 gateway. This guy is super cheesy, dude. Holy shit. And you're not building... I feel like you're panicking right now a little bit. Like your macro is definitely thrown off. You're not building units out of your robo. You're not building probes half the time. You have 1,500 minerals. Expand again right now. Like, I think right now, in your mind, you're probably thinking to yourself, ViBE, I don't want to expand again, because what if he kills me? This is the problem of everybody that plays StarCraft. Everyone's always like, well, what if they kill me, though? What if I die? What if they just attack me and I die? You just have to realize that you having 1,600 minerals right now is worse than you taking a 3rd base right now. Like, this is worse. This means you're actually not investing your money into anything that makes sense. Like, you're not investing your money into future economy, which would make your army ramp up even faster over time. Like, yeah, it has a little bit of a lull in the early part, but then it goes really fast right after, because you have more money to work with than after. So either another expansion should be done right now, or you should be having, like, again, like maybe like 6 gates right now, and you should be going for an all-in. Now, this is gold to plat, and I would definitely not say go for the all-in version, because that requires micro as well. I would say, if you ever find yourself getting cheesed, and then you're like, dude, I have so much money, take another base. There's no reason to just sit here with 1,600 minerals in your bank for this long. No reason to do that. And like, this is getting around the time when you should be taking a 4th base. That's how crazy this is. And like, look at your patches. Remember what I said? You want to expand again when your patches mine out. You're getting ready to want to take a 5th base in about 1 minute. 5th base. You just took your 3rd, and in 1 minute from now, roughly, you're gonna want to take your 5th base. You're definitely behind pacing pretty hard right now. And again, I know you got all in, but he all in you, and he lost a lot more resources than you did. You actually, like, because of how bad your opponent cannon rushed you, you actually, in my opinion, ended up ahead out of that. Losing 5 probes sucked, but overall, at the end of the day, I think you ended up ahead. So feeling like you're going to die if you play standard BDG from this point is not necessary. Your patches are mining out. You need to be on a 5th base right now. You haven't even started your 4th base. What's the probe count look like? You have 48. He's got 61. It's because you're expanding so slow. Like, this is that moment in the game where, again, if this was a B to GM build, you would honestly be, right now, probably like 160 supply. 150, 160 supply already. And if you just opened up 2 gateways, you could have easily spent your money. Like, you had like 700 minerals when you were making 1 stalker at a time. If you opened up 2 gates, you could have made 2 stalkers at a time. You could have made up to like 4 stalkers and have easily crushed this all in. You crushed it with like 2 stalkers out of 1 gate. Imagine if you had 2 stalkers and then 4 stalkers. You would have, like, so 2 stalkers with when you would have only had 1, and then 4 when you would have only had 2, because you had an extra gateway. You would have easily crushed it even faster. You could have killed your pylon faster, expanded faster. It was very doable. It's super doable. Is what the point I'm trying to make here. There's no reason why you couldn't have done that in this game. It's because I think you're just overreacting and panicking. But just for real, know this though. If your main base mines out, and you're doing beta GM style, if you're like mineral field depleted, the second you grab your probes and you go, I need to transfer, you should be already starting a 5th base. That should be combined with that. And if you look at your game and go, I don't even have a fucking 4th base right now, just fucking take it. I'm glad you're taking it now. It's good. But it's like, again, this should be the 5th base. Super late. This is the thing that happens every time I coach anybody. Like, for instance, when I like watch my brother play, my brother's another example of this. My brother's like a gold Protoss or like a silver Protoss. I watch him play, and he plays so paranoid as well. Whenever, like, he barely plays this game. He plays like once in a while, and every time I watch him play, the same thing as this, where I'm like, why aren't you expanding? Just fucking expand. He's like, why? Well, what if I die? What's gonna kill you? I don't know. Exactly. Like, if you don't know what's going to kill you, just fucking expand. Because you're overthinking it right now, and you're deviating from the plan. When if you did expand right now, if you play efficient and your opponent doesn't, you're going to win anyways. This is definitely not efficient, is the point I'm trying to make here. It's not about understanding what is and what is not happening from your opponent. It's about understanding just how to play the game efficiently. That's all it is. If you can play efficiently, you'll win. Just play efficiently, and you will crush your opponent. Because if either one of you played efficiently, you would be maxed out right now. Like, very close to it, if not maxed. Super close. But you guys are both 80 supply off. Like, you're both playing paranoid. You're expanding super slow, and your opponent... Like, what the fuck is that, dude? He's actually on 4 bases, so good for him. But your opponent's going for straight up just like full-on voids. And immortals. He's like not even using gateway units at all. He's going straight up fucking triple robo, double Stargate, void immortal. And here's the thing too, right? Like, look at this. He's got triple Robo, and he's got a total of 3 Immortals, and he's got double Stargate, and he's got a total of 3 Voids. How long has he had these buildings? Probably a long time. Stargates for sure have been up for a long time. Like, it's, I don't know, it's just, and he's going for armor upgrades. It's okay. I won't judge him. It's just people play really inefficient is my point I'm trying to make here. This guy's build is super fucking inefficient. If you just played efficient, you would crush that dude. If either of you played efficient, you would crush the other one. Neither of you are playing efficient, really. You just really got to keep in mind. Okay, for real. I'm going to say this one more time, and then I'll move on from it. As soon as your main base mine's out, you should think to yourself, I should be on 5 bases. That should be your checkpoint. And if you're not able to do that, you should feel like you're behind from where you should be. Not enough damage was done to you to justify how behind you are. Like, you're indirectly doing more damage to yourself than he did to you because of how slow you're playing at this point. Main base mines out equals start 5th base. Roughly. Yes. Like, that should mean that you're already on your 5th base. Okay, so keep this in mind. First expansion should be going down around roughly like 1:30 to 2 minutes, okay? Like, just do the build order for the first base, alright? And you'll have it. You could totally, realistically, in Beta GM, take your 3rd base by 4 minutes. Think about like every 2 minutes you should have a base done by then. Or like started. So at 2 minutes, you should have your Nexus already started at your natural. At 4 minutes, you should start your Nexus at your 3rd. At 6 minutes, you should start your Nexus at your 4th. At 8 minutes, when your main base starts mining out, you should have your 5th base. Like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Just every 2 minutes, you should have another Nexus being going down. But for real, like your first Nexus is thrown down around like 130, 120. What league? This is a gold to plat. Low plat, high gold. And this is definitely not efficient. And what I'm saying is the process of efficiency, which would just make you win in platinum. Like, if you don't play efficient, you won't win, period. Like, no matter what league you're in. You'll have a chance to win if your opponent also plays really inefficient. But if either player plays efficient in platinum or below, whoever plays efficient wins the game. That's just how it works. Because the fact that we're at 12 minutes and you're both at 170 supply is so fucking slow. The natural's about to mine out, and this should mean you're on a 6th base now. Natural means 6th base. Natural's mining out right now in the next like 5 seconds. And we're on 4 bases. Just fresh 4 bases. This should be starting your 6th base. And then it like never ends. Your 3rd base mine's out, 7th base. 4th base mine's out, 8th base. The point is you want to have 4 fully active bases ready to go. Always have 4 fully active bases. So you take 4 bases before your main base even loses patches, and then lose patch, take another base. Lose a patch, take another base. Lose patches, take another base. Lose patches, take another base. Lose patches, take another base. Until you're literally out of bases on the map. Does that make sense? That's a checkpoint status right there for efficiency. For just like standard like beginner knowledge of like obviously it doesn't have to work like that every game. Once you're like masters or whatever, you have builds that are more catered to how you're specifically playing. But if you're if you're clueless and you're like, I have no idea when I should be expanding, that is a good indicator when to take a base. That's a super good indicator to be like, oh, I should be fucking totally expanding right now. Okay, you scouted him. So what are you going to do here? You should definitely be attacking this base on the bottom left. Because he hit a base on you. Okay, I'm going to back it up and look at exactly when he scouted. I want to see when he max. Because because you're chilling so hard here. I have 3K right now. Well, Capitan, your macron's super fucking slow, man. Okay, so you scouted him at like right around 13 minutes. 13 minutes. You scouted him, and you're also maxed. 13 minutes. What are you doing right now? Okay, you ran over a chunk of zealots at like 13:30. I'm okay with it, but that's super late, but I'm okay with it. But like, you see what I mean though? Okay, so this is the problem I have with what you're doing now. You sent your army to go kill the proxy base because you're like, I don't want to lose my army or anything like that. But at the same time, your army is just sitting here. Your army is just sitting here. I don't know why it's sitting here. It doesn't help you that it's sitting here. You should move out and attack.
Expand when you're clueless. Does this explain the build you told me to do in our private lesson? 12 hatch 11 hatch 10 hatch 9 hatch 8 hatch 7 hatch 5 hatch 5 hatch 4 hatch 3 hatch 2 hatch 1 hatch.
There was a typo there. You're supposed to put a 6 in there. Trophy him? You suck. Nice troll, dude. Thank you for the bits. But yeah. Mon Capitan. The fact that your army is just sitting here is not ideal. And the reason why is because this is a concept of StarCraft, okay? There are two kinds of army in StarCraft. There is mobility and there is deathball. Your army is mobility. And the reason why your army is mobility is because a zealot is a pile of shit. A stalker is a pile of shit. An immortal is good for ground deathball. An archon is good for AoE deathball. And that's it. Your army is half zealot, half stalker, like probably like almost like 60% zealot stalker. Your army is not deathball. So the longer you wait, it's okay that it's not all deathball, by the way. But the point I'm trying to make here is you should not be sitting on your ass if your army is mobility heavy. It's not mobility heavy. Or it's sorry, it is mobility heavy. It is not deathball heavy. If this was deathball, it would be full on like carriers and archons and something like that. That'd be more of a deathball. Something that is like legit fucking A move can beat most things. Zealot Stalker cannot do that. So what's happening is the fact that you're sitting here on your ass is not good. Because if your opponent is going deathball, which he is, your chances of losing go up. You're wasting way too much time right now. You should have attacked him around 10 minutes. And we're at 15 minutes and you're like just about to leave your base. Now his army is going to roll your ass pretty hard. Unless he throws 3 carriers at you randomly like that and it's just like, what the hell's he doing? But now you should be remaxing. And how many gateways have you given yourself? You have 7,000, 8,000 resources. You have 10 gates. You have 4 stargates. A fleet beacon. And in production you have nothing. This is not enough production. Not enough. You will never remax off of this production. Like in a real world. And the reason why is because, again, this is platinum to gold, or platinum to bronze related styles. You're not playing efficiently. You're not going to micro this army at all. I 100% expect you to throw your army into death right now. I do expect that, and I don't expect you to do otherwise. This is not micro time yet. This is time to learn how to macro properly. And if you're going to learn how to macro properly in terms of like if you're going to throw your whole army away, You have enough production right now to remax 20 supply immediately. You're about to throw an army away that's worth like 120. You can then make units in your Stargates. If you make 4 carriers, that's 24 supply of carrier. That's going to be stuck in there for a minute. And you can make 4 supply at once with an Immortal and your Robo for 40 seconds roughly. 39 exactly. The point I'm trying to make here is if you throw this entire army away, you're going to go back up to like 130 supply and you're going to sit there for a while. And if this guy wrecks your ass because you attack so late and he actually has more of a Death Ball army than you do, you give him the opportunity to counterattack you and you could totally die. Also, you're going into carriers a bit early, I would say, because you've done barely any upgrades for your Stargate. And this dude's been going Stargate but to be fair, like, his upgrades suck too. Jeez Louise, dude. But yeah, like, you have level 3 weapons on the ground almost done. It's like halfway done. But you have also only level 1 weapons on this core, cyber core. So you shouldn't really be like focusing on just like ignoring all of your ground units now and just going full on Stargate transition at this point. Like, you should be committed a little bit longer to Gateway, for a little longer. And if you were going to go Stargate, like, it's the whole concept there would be, don't throw your whole army away if you're going to rotate this fast. But you're gonna, so it doesn't make any sense. And the only way to tell you not to do that is to micro. But I don't expect you to micro. So the point of you just abandoning your gateways super early is not good in my opinion. Like, this is so fast. Like, you waited so long on a mobility army, and then you're abandoning it altogether and just shifting gears entirely to Deathball with Stargate. But you're gonna die. You're going to lose this fight so bad, and you're gonna be open to a counterattack, and you're gonna die. Thank God that this guy wasted all of his interceptors before this fight started. So he's been having like a couple little pew pew interceptors fly around at a time. These are just like sitting duck carriers. They're just literally doing nothing. I would say you should have lost that fight. But this guy kind of cucked himself by the way he blew all of his interceptors before the fight even really started. And now you're going to win. You're winning this game through sheer incompetence of your opponent. Honestly. But you see what I mean? Like, this is not good. You're not using your gateways at all. You're not using your robo at all. You made this one round of zealots, and that was it. This is so fucking scary for you. If this dude would have just actually, like, not played like a fucking derp, you'd be so dead, dude. You just need to, like... The goal is, as soon as you get 200, stay there. Like, even when you're losing units, remax, 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 remax. Not... drop down to like 120 for 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you have to utilize your production. Okay. Like, you're not using the gates still. This entire time, you're not using your gateways. They have just been idle for... I don't even know how long. It's been a while. It's, like, just make zealots. And the reason why I say just make zealots is because you're remaxing in carrier now. And I'm not going to say that's the... Okay, you're going Tempest too. I don't like that. Just make carriers. But you're remaxing in air, which I'm not going to say is the worst thing ever. Now you're getting into a death ball. But why don't you just make more zealots more often and send zealots at his bases? Just like this. This is a good... The fact that you killed that base is nice. And the fact that these zealots then tried to kill this base is nice. But just make more of them. Rather than just sitting at like 150 supply, 160 supply, 170 supply, and slowly building up again. If you play like that in Masters, you're fucking dead. You will die every game because you lose all momentum. So you can get away with it in gold and in plat. You can. But if you want to progress more as a player, you will not get away with this shit later on. You will always get fucked over for it. Like, stay maxed and keep your opponent on the defensive. Kill expansions. Like, here's the biggest, because this is the best way to play StarCraft 2, okay? This is the best way to play this game. Do you have more bases than your opponent? No matter what race you are. Do you have more bases than your opponent? No? Well, then you should probably be aggressive to a degree. Like, don't throw your whole army away and A-move it, but in general, if you're maxed, you can attack with BetaJam styles and shit like that. But if you're playing a style now where you're playing with a little bit more of a brain here, where you're trying to play a deathball style, you're not just trying to remax. You're not trying to remax into charge the Archon Immortal or whatever. You're trying to actually go for Sky Toss, which is deathball. This is way more deathball. If you're going to do that, mix this with Zealots. And the reason why you want to mix it with Zealots is because Zealots are self-sufficient at killing bases. They fuck bases up really well if bases are not defended. They're just good at doing damage to bases. And they cost 0 gas, which is what you need to have to make this army. They also buy you time because they're mobile and they keep your opponent defensive. So I'm not telling you to max out on Zealots and that's what you push with carriers with. I'm telling you to max out on Zealots and attack your opponent with them while you're waiting for your next round of carriers. And then Zealots die, but they might kill a base at the same time, keep your opponent defensive and starving, and then you make another round of carriers. And you make even less Zealots than you did before because now you have more supplying carriers. And you do this again and again and again and again and again and again. And now you have no Zealots and maxed out supply of carrier. And now you have like 18 carriers or something that you can push across the map with. If you want to play like that. That makes way more sense than just sitting here defensively and making one round of like 20 supply of Zealots and just sitting here and waiting and waiting and waiting. Because all you do then is you allow your opponent to retake expansions and prepare himself defensively as well. Also, this guy makes way too many cannons. Oh, yeah. Yep, that's so many cannons, dude. Don't ever do shit like this either. This is a clear sign of someone who is low league. Like, this is so fucking inefficiently bad. Don't ever do that. Anyone who's listening, don't ever do that. Don't ever just... This is like basically a guy saying, I don't know how to defend my base properly, so I'm going to make cannons everywhere. This is not big game hunters. You don't have infinite money. You can't afford that kind of shit. Like, this is okay because this is a fresh base that is super exposed. That's okay. Doing this in your main base is not okay. This is not a fresh base. This is your tech. And if you can't defend your tech, well, you have no map awareness anyways. You're not going to progress as a player. You need to work on your map awareness. See, like this right here, this is bad. What you're doing, do not push with your carriers when you have a bunch of Zealots. For now. Like, because again, what you're going to do, my guess is you're going to A-move this. You're not going to micro shit. You're probably not going to touch this army. Do not move. Like, if you feign pressure, where like, let's say you get his attention and now you back, you're like, I killed a pylon. Back the fuck up. That'd be fine. And then now that maybe your opponent comes over here to try and get ready to deal with you, but you've already backed up to safety of your cannons and whatever, your base. And now these Zealots, while you've then pulled him out of position, Zealots suddenly show up and you fuck over a base possibly. That'd be okay. But keep this in mind. If you both... If your opponent didn't just make 5 million cannons, and instead he also made carriers or whatever, all you're doing right now is you're giving yourself a chance to where you have 20 supply less than he would in a death ball scenario. Okay? So if your opponent had max death ball and you had sub-max death ball with Zealots, and your Zealots run into cannons at a base like this right here, like if your Zealots were attacking, like if this base over here got attacked by 10 Zealots as well, this base would kill 10 Zealots. 6 cannons and 3 batteries, especially if you overcharge one of the batteries, would guaranteed kill 10 Zealots. Guaranteed. You might lose like 2 cannons or something. They are kind of spaced out a bit awkwardly far. You should definitely tighten it up a little bit. Like it's a bit unwound. You should tighten that up a little bit so that your cannons can actually support each other. Because the way you've built this when they're so far out like this is these cannons will fight by themselves. These cannons will fight by themselves. These cannons will fight by themselves. Like, this cannon might help assist these two in the front, but this cannon's definitely not going to help these cannons over here. That's way too fucking... That cannon can shoot about that far. So if your cannons were like there, way better because it's way tighter, so more cannons shoot when the zealots arrive. Way too fucking exposed. Just throwing it out there. Make sure you know that. This is actually terrible fucking SimCity. But anyways, even though it's really bad SimCity, you'd probably still win. Your cannons would probably still kill 10 zealots, but you'd probably lose like 4 cannons. Because you're not really having other... Like, these two cannons in the back are fucking never going to help these two cannons. And this cannon way on the top is never going to help these two cannons. At most, you're going to have 2, maybe 3 cannons shooting him, no matter where he goes. While he kills your cannons. When it should be like all 6 are shooting. Or maybe 5. Now... So, keep in mind, again, I gotta say this point one more time because I want it to make sense. If your opponent and you both went death ball, okay? There's 2 things you're doing that are really bad. Number 1, you're pushing with 20 supply down here that is not going to be able to help you in the fight. Number 2, you're pushing with 26 supply in production still that will not be in the fight. You're pushing with 46 supply not helping you. Now, if we're talking about 46 fucking supply, and again, the way I'm getting this math added up is 20 supply off of these zealots, 18 supply off of these carriers, and 8 supply off of that mothership. 20 plus 18 plus 8 is 46. 40 fucking 6 supply of units that are not actually in your death ball. That is not good. Death ball should push together when it's ready to go. You're rushing this way too fast. So if your opponent did actually have a death ball and he matched your supply, but it was defensive and he actually had all of it there, 46 supply in terms of 46 divided by 6 is you could fit 7 carriers, almost 8 carriers in that. He could guaranteed, if he was going death ball, have 7 carriers more than you have right now. You're pushing with 11. Or, yeah, this is 11. He could have 18 defensively. That's not good for you. If you had 18 carriers to your 11 aggressive, if you throw this army away, you're fucking dead. Because if you fight an army like that, you're going to get run over so badly. If your opponent has any idea what he's doing. And then if he goes, oh cool, I just killed your death ball, and now I'm going to go counterattack your bases. You will never recover in time. You will never have enough time to recover because you want to know that the thing about mobility armies is you can remax super fast. The thing about a death ball is if you lose that army, it's like, hold on, give me 4 minutes. I got to remax. Give me some time. I need a minute, maybe 4. You don't just remax a death ball. The only race that can kind of do that is Zerg, because Zerg never really truly has a death ball. Because Zerg gets AoE'd like crazy. Zerg Death Ball is like Mass Phoenix, apparently. Because it's like Mass Corruptor, or like Mass Voids. You get like, it's like 2 supply units. Voids are actually 4 supply units. But Zerg Death Balls are way squishier than other armies, because Zerg doesn't have a capital ship like a carrier or a battlecruiser. It doesn't exist for Zerg. So, but that's why Zerg can remax the Death Ball super fast. But Protoss and Terran, they do take a while to remax a death ball. So you want to make sure when you push to the death ball that you're actually ready to push to the death ball. And again, the only reason why this is working is because your opponent just doesn't have any fucking supply. He doesn't know what he's doing. If you played against someone in like Diamond or Masters, you would get punished so hard for this playstyle. So I hope this helps. The concept of late game death ball, like how to use it properly. You do not want to push until everything is ready to go. This is just risking your army to die. This is like you're just basically deciding to fight your army. Jesus, I have like this rumbling in my chest right now. You're basically choosing to fight your opponent's army at like 75% power, which is not good. That's not good. You don't want to do that. You want to fight it at 100% power. Because if you fight you at 75% power against your opponent's 100% power, and you're both doing the same thing, he's gonna kill you. That's not what you want to do, right? You don't want to die. You don't want to lose. So hopefully that makes sense. And then really highly encourage you to make 2 gateways versus cannon rushes, and you'll have so much more success. But either way, Mon Capitan, I hope all this information we talked about throughout this analysis helps you. Thank you very much, dude. Mon Capitan, shout out to you again for doing another analysis. Props as well for allowing me to rip your replay apart on stream. And, you know, anyone else who's listening out there, I hope this helps you too. But Mon Capitan, much love, good luck, and everyone else who just watched this, good luck to you too. Go check out more videos if you liked it, and I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, take it easy, much love, good luck, and thanks for watching, guys. Peace.